Welcome, summer school students, to a deep dive. No long intros today. We're jumping right in.
That's right.
We're exploring the words in your interactive vocabulary companion.
Yep.
And this isn't just about, definitions.
No.
Our mission is really to unpack these words, see how they transform, and understand the power they hold in their different forms.
Exactly. Think of it as getting to know these words, like on a deeper level. We're using your companion as our map here.
Looking at the core meanings.
And then tracing how that meaning sort of flexes and changes.
Yeah.
When a word shows up as a noun or maybe a verb, an adjective, or an adverb, yeah.
Okay, let's get into it. Words often group together in, interesting ways.
They do.
And we can see that right away with some key nouns in your companion. Maybe let's start with words that describe how things are or how they happen.
Sounds like a great place to start. We have words like consensus, which is listed as a noun. Your companion defines it as an opinion that everyone in a group agrees with or accepts, agreement.
So everyone's on the same page.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And what's interesting here, in the companion, it sort of stands alone. You don't see other forms listed right next to it.
Ah, okay. But the meaning itself is key, that collective agreement.
That shared understanding, yeah.
Yeah.
That moment everyone's nodding.
Okay. Contrast that maybe with words about specific events. There's incident.
Right. Incident, also a noun. The definition is an event, especially one that is unusual, important, or violent. But this word, it does have a related form listed. Incidental, which is an adjective.
Incidental. So how does that relate?
Well, an incident is the main event, right? Like a historical incident or maybe a minor incident in school.
Okay.
But something incidental is, less important. It just happens alongside something bigger, maybe as a consequence.
Oh, I see. Like an incidental finding during research.
Exactly. You might notice an incidental detail while you're focused on a major incident. The adjective kind of shrinks its importance.
Got it. And speaking of things happening, there's occurrence.
Ah, yes, another noun, meaning simply something that happens.
Nice and straightforward.
And its verb form, listed right there in your companion, is occur.
So the occurrence of rain just means it occurred.
Simple, yeah, but really useful for describing events without sounding too repetitive.
Okay, that makes sense. Now maybe we shift to nouns that describe qualities.
Good idea. Those inherent characteristics of things or people, super useful for evaluation, description.
Yeah.
And these often have really clear connections to adjectives, sometimes adverbs too. Take durability.
Durability. Okay, a noun.
Defined as the ability to withstand wear, pressure, or damage, and its related form. The adjective durable.
Okay, this is where the connection feels really obvious. A product has high durability. Because it is durable. You want durable hiking boots because you need durability on the trail.
Precisely. The noun names the quality. The adjective describes something having it. Then there's efficiency.
Efficiency, another noun, meaning the quality of doing something well and effectively without wasting time, money, or energy.
Right. And this one's a great example of how the different forms really work together. The companion lists the adjective.
Efficient.
Efficient, yeah. And also the adverb.
Efficiently.
Efficiently. So you've got the whole set there.
Okay, I think I see the pattern.
Yeah.
The noun is the quality itself, like efficiency.
Yep.
The adjective describes something with that quality, an efficient worker, an efficient process.
Right.
And the adverb tells you how the action is done working efficiently.
Exactly. It's the what, the describing, and the how.
Right.
Very neat. Similarly, look at reliability.
Reliability, another quality noun. The quality of being able to be trusted or believed because of working or behaving well.
And this connects to the verb rely, and the adjective reliable.
Okay, this feels really linked to trust, doesn't it? You rely on someone because they have reliability, because they are reliable. It all reinforces that idea of dependability.
Absolutely. The forms build on each other.
Yeah.
Now, let's touch on judgment. That's judgment with an E in the middle here, British spelling.
Good point. A noun, defined as an opinion that you form, especially after thinking carefully about something.
And the related forms listed are the verb judge and the adjective judgmental.
Judgmental. Now, this one has an interesting feeling to it.
How so?
Well, judgment itself can be pretty neutral, right? Like making a sound judgment.
True. Forming an opinion.
But the adjective judgmental, it almost always sounds a negative, doesn't it? Like you're being critical.
That's a really key insight for learners, actually. Adding that "al" here really shifts the focus. It's not just having an opinion anymore. It's more about,
Right.
criticizing others based on opinions.
Yeah, a very important distinction in how you use it.
Definitely. Okay, we also have sensitivity,
Sensitivity, the noun. The ability to understand other people's feelings and problems.
which connects to the adjective sensitive and the adverb sensitively.
So someone shows sensitivity by being sensitive
Right.
and acting sensitively. It's all about that awareness, that consideration.
Exactly. And one more in this quality group.
Vagueness.
Vagueness. Now and again,
Yeah.
the quality of not being clearly expressed, known, described, or decided.
And the related forms are the adjective vague and the adverb vaguely.
This seems clear, too. If a statement suffers from vagueness, it's because the statement is vague.
Or maybe the speaker expressed it vaguely.
Yeah.
These abstract quality nouns, they often become much clearer when you see their descriptive adjective and adverb forms.
They really do.
Okay, so maybe now a quick look at nouns related to rules or duties or providing things, sort of the structures governing how things work.
Sounds good. Like obligation.
Obligation, yeah.
Yeah.
A noun meaning a moral or legal duty to do something.
And the forms listed are the verb oblige and the adjective obligated,
Right. So you are under an obligation.
which means
You are obligated to do something, perhaps because a contract obliges you or a promise does. Got it. Then provision. A noun. The act of providing something that someone needs.
and the related form is just the verb provide.
Okay. So the provision of food means someone will provide the food. Pretty direct connection there.
Very direct. And finally, regulation.
Regulation. Noun. An official rule or order.
Now, this word, it branches out quite a bit in the companion. You've got the verb regulate
Mm-hmm.
and then two adjectives, regulatory and regulated.
Wow, okay. That's a fantastic example of a word family, isn't it?
It really is.
A regulation. That's the rule itself. It's often created by a regulatory body, like a government agency,
Right, like a regulatory age
to regulate an activity, maybe like banking or something,
to control or manage it.
which then makes banking a regulated activity. Seeing all those forms together really clarifies the whole concept.
It absolutely does. So, we've seen how these nouns,
And exploring their listed forms, it immediately starts to show how these concepts actually work, in action or description or modification.
which naturally leads us right into the verbs.
Perfect transition, the action words, showing something happening or existing. Let's look at the key verbs listed as verbs in your companion.
Okay, first up we have acknowledge. It's a verb meaning to admit or accept that something is true or that a situation exists.
Acknowledge.
And this links to the noun acknowledgement and the adjective acknowledged.
So if you acknowledge you made a mistake, that action is an acknowledgement, and then the mistake itself might be called an acknowledged error. It's about recognizing it.
Accepting it as real, yeah. Next, interpret.
Interpret, a verb meaning to explain the meaning of something.
And the related form listed is the noun interpretation.
Makes sense. You interpret a difficult text or maybe a dream,
Right.
and your explanation is your interpretation. The verb is the action of making sense of it.
Exactly. Now here's an interesting one. Merit.
Merit. Okay, your companion lists it as a verb, meaning deserve or be worthy of, like reward or attention.
Right. But it's also listed as a noun.
One of those words that plays two roles.
It does.
So as a verb, your idea might merit further discussion.
It deserves it.
But as a noun, you might win something based on your merit, like your worthiness or your skill.
Context is absolutely key there, isn't it? To know which one you're dealing with.
Definitely.
Another word that can do that, function differently without changing form, is recall.
Recall, listed here as a verb, meaning to remember a particular fact, event, or situation from the past.
Right. You recall your first day of school.
The action of remembering. And yeah, while the companion focuses on the verb here, I know recall can also be a noun, like a product recall.
True, when something's called back. But the main focus here is that verb form.
Got it.
And finally, for this specific list of verbs, we have stimulate.
Stimulate, meaning to encourage or help an activity to begin or develop further.
And this one has a really nice set of forms listed. The noun stimulation and the adjective stimulating and stimulated.
Okay, so you stimulate discussion,
Right.
which provides stimulation for the group. A class discussion could be really stimulating.
Hopefully.
Making the students feel stimulated. It's all about encouraging that activity or interest.
Exactly. And, just to loop back, as we talked about with the nouns earlier,
Yeah.
many of those words also have verb forms. even if the noun was the main entry we look at first, like we saw occur from occurrence.
Right, and judge from judgment.
Oblige from obligation, regulate from regulation.
Rely from reliability.
Provide from provision, and expose from the adjective expose, which we'll get to.
Okay.
Understanding that verb form really helps you see the core action behind the noun or the adjective.
Absolutely. Connects everything. Okay, so now, adjectives.
Adjectives it is.
Yeah.
The describing words, adding color, detail, telling us more about the nouns.
Your companion highlights a few key ones listed as adjectives, like exposed.
Exposed, meaning not protected from something. And this connects back to the noun exposure and the verb expose.
So if you are exposed to danger, you face danger exposure, perhaps because someone or something exposed you to it. It's about being vulnerable or revealing something.
Exactly, that lack of protection. Then there's inferior.
Inferior, an adjective meaning not good or not as good as someone or something else.
And the related form listed is the noun inferiority.
Okay. So when you compare two products, one might be judged inferior to the other,
Right.
or someone might unfortunately struggle with feelings of inferiority.
That's right. And a really useful one for rules and what's allowed. Permissible.
Permissible, adjective, meaning allowed by law or by the rules.
And this one has quite a few related forms listed. The verb permit and two nouns.
Permit and permission.
Okay, this is fascinating too. So an action is permissible.
If the rules permit it.
Right. And to do it, you might need a formal document, which is a permit the noun.
Like a building permit? Exactly. Or you might just need general agreement, which is permission, the other noun form. It's all about being allowed.
It really is. And again, just think back, summer school students, to all the other words we've already touched on that also have adjective forms listed in your companion.
Oh, yeah, there were loads. Like durable, efficient, incidental, judgmental, obligated.
Primary, regulatory, regulated, relative, reliable, sensitive, stimulating, vague, acknowledged.
Wow.
Adjectives are just incredibly versatile, aren't they? They pop up everywhere as descriptive partners.
They really do give us so much more information. Okay, last category then. Adverbs.
Adverbs. Often the modifiers, as you said, telling us how, sometimes when, or where, or to what extent.
And they often modify verbs or adjectives or even other adverbs.
That's right. And yet many, though not all, end in that telltale setility. Your companion lists a few key ones. First, and precisely.
Precisely. Adverb, meaning exactly and correctly.
And this connects back to the noun precision and the adjective precise.
Okay, so you need to follow the instructions precise, using a precise measurement to achieve the required precision. Seeing all three together really nails that idea of exactness.
It does. Next, primarily.
Primarily. Adverb meaning mainly.
And its related form is the adjective primary.
Okay. So this session is primarily focused on word forms.
Yep.
Making word forms the primary topic.
Exactly. And relatively.
Relatively. Adverb, meaning in relation, comparison, or proportion to something else.
Which ties back, of course, to the adjective relative.
So the task was relatively easy compared to the last one, meaning its difficulty was relative to the previous task.
Perfect. And as we saw with words like efficient, sensitive, stimulated, vaguely, that artfully ending is often a good clue. You're looking at an adverb derived from an adjective.
It's a useful signpost.
Definitely. So summer school students, we've kind of taken a tour, haven't we, through the main word types in your companion.
Yeah, nouns, verbs, adjectives, and adverbs. We've looked at the definitions, and really importantly at how they connect to other forms of the same core word.
And this really isn't just about memorizing lists, is it?
No, not at all. It's about seeing that a word like regulate the verb.
Right.
Regulation, the noun. Regulatory and regulated, the adjectives. They're all part of the same family, the same core idea.
But used in different grammatical slots, depending on what you need to express.
Exactly.
Now, your companion gives you these foundational pieces, the definition, the list and forms. They're the building blocks.
But it's just the start, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Remember, the companion also offers those links for pronunciation.
Oh, yeah. Super useful.
And collocations.
Yeah.
You know, words that naturally partner up, like rely on or make a judgment. And examples in context from texts and videos. Using those resources is how you really see these words come alive in actual language.
That's where the learning really sticks. We focus today mostly on those core bits, the word type, the definition, the listed forms.
Foundational stuff.
Because mastering these is so key to unlocking the full potential of these words and using them accurately.
Couldn't agree more. So maybe here's a thought to leave you with. Summer school students.
Okay.
We've seen clearly how different forms change a word's grammatical role in a sentence. But think about this. How do those changes in form sometimes subtly affect the word's nuance? Or maybe the feeling it conveys?
Well, that's interesting, like how judgmental feels different from just judgment.
Exactly like that. Does seeing durable help you grasp durability better? Or the other way around? How do they influence each other in your mind?
That's a great question to ponder. Keep exploring your companion. Keep practicing.
Keep making those connections.
And keep adding that depth to your understanding of these really valuable words.